Greetings, Valverdeans, and Salterdians. Welcome back to Valverde Broadcasting, the shambles that is, what's it called? Pitches Leave.
Nailing it!
It's been a while.
Nailing it.
Yeah, welcome back to Pitches Leave. We've been off the air a while with this show, but it is back. Welcome back, and we appreciate your patience on that. Today, of course, as always, I'm joined by Richard Jackson, Ricardo Yahaxion.
Guten Abend, meine Freunde. All the facts.
That reference is a thing that people won't have heard.
That episode isn't out yet. It's great. It's going to be extra rewarding for people to go through the back catalogue later.
It. Yeah. So today on Pitches Leave, Richard has a pitch that's somewhat... What's the word?
Esoteric?
Esoteric, execrable, ethereal.
Execrable's good, yeah.
Execrable. Why don't you, Richard, tell us what you've written a pitch on? And I do mean written. Yeah,
I have. I've written notes in the Samsung Notes section of my phone.
Very good.
Whilst lying in bed the other night. So, it's a two-pronged pitch. Because I've got two separate ideas that could work. Two very different ones. And I've got the meat of the bones is on one, but the other... I've got one that's kind of like a historical sort of biopic. And the other one is like a Pixar animated children's adventure style.
A la, what, like Sausage Party or something?
More for children. Like Inside Out. It would be like for reasons that will make sense in a moment. So, I'm asking you this in a kind of rhetorical way because I know the answer. But do you know what the Bristol Stool chart is?
Yeah.
Would you care to describe the Bristol Stool chart?
Well, as I understand it, this is a thing you've thrown my way a few times.
And it's been in the Google Hangouts.
Yes, it certainly has. It is a chart, I guess, by either someone in Bristol or I don't know, but it's a chart of different types of feces. And I suppose what they mean for the excretors' general well-being. I don't know.
General well-being. Yes. Now, I know something that's been doing the rounds recently is that I've seen there are lots of kind of well-meaning TV broadcasts from festivals where they take around a urine chart and it's like this means you're dehydrated, this means you're not. It's similar to that. So right. It's sort of like Dante's 7 Circles of Hell or whatever. It's like a 7-pronged chart from fluid to solid of all the different types of human excrement that was made by Bristol University.
Right.
I don't know which would that be. It's not proctology, but it's perhaps some kind of dietary or nutritional department at Bristol University.
Yeah.
I think we should probably put it on the screen anyway for the duration. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we're right.
If you, dear viewer, care to care to Google the Bristol Stool chart, you'll see it. And also for extra yucks, if you Google Bristol Stool chart cake, which is one of my favourite things ever, because there are some wonderful deployment of cakes.
We do mean yucks.
Bristol Stool chart has 7 categories, like I say, from the most solid to the most fluid. And there are illustrations and there are descriptions.
Of course.
So I just want to make clear what this is before I go into my pitch. Would you care just to... I've presented Duncan with it. So what's the top type? Is it type 1?
Type 1, yes.
Okay, would you please read the description for type 1?
This should be on the screen for everyone as well, but separate hard lumps like nuts, brackets, hard to pass.
Hard to pass.
Hard to pass.
They're sort of like little pellets, don't they?
Yeah, like rabbit poo.
As we go through, if you describe so that's type 1. Type 2, could you describe the picture and then describe the...
Okay, so type 2 is a sort of lumpy sausage. And it does say indeed sausage-shaped, but lumpy.
Please continue. Type 3.
Okay, so type 3 is like a sausage. It says like a sausage, but with cracks on its surface. Type 4 looks like a sort of extruded, what would you say, a chocolate like, fondant, like sausage or snake, smooth and soft. or snake.
There's that. The language.
Yeah, the sort of, on the scale of sausage to snake, there's quite a.
These descriptions will play into my pitch.
Oh right. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I just to interrupt. You know how like when they made the film of Battleship, the board game.
Yeah.
So how are you going to make a film of a board game? Or indeed, really, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's like those esoteric. It is esoteric because it's one of these things that has no narrative, and it's like, well, I suppose a theme park ride kind of does, but so something that doesn't really have a narrative, and then you make it into a film. So you have to indeed extrude the given data. Please continue.
Okay. Type 5, which is. It looks like a box of chocolates has been left in the sun.
We'll call that the Forrest Gump.
The Forrest Gump. Soft blobs with clear cut edges. Brackets passed easily. Type 6, which looks like what would you say? I don't know. I don't know. Someone spilt hot chocolate. Fluffy pieces with ragged edges. A mushy stool.
Fluffy yet ragged. The most complex of the Bristol stool chocolates.
I think I've experienced that. Type 7.
This does include... Now, like a snake is one of my favourite phrases, but I like the absolutism of type 7.
Right, okay. Type 7 looks like the T1000 drank Bovril.
Mimetic Bovril alloy.
Yeah. Liquid Bovril. I thought Bovril was a liquid. Shut up. Why didn't it become a Coke or something to get me? Doesn't work that way.
Terminator
It can't form sweet carbonated drinks, but it can form salty hot shit.
Can form soft ragged edges.
Right, watery, no solid pieces, in bold, entirely liquid.
That's what I like. Entirely liquid. So that is the. There are a lot of people will have already tuned out. Some people will be rushing to the comments saying this is a new low. This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
So anybody who had a bad time watching the Objective Star Wars: The Last Jedi review, strap yourselves in.
And no, Red Letter Media would not do this.
Yeah, Red Letter Media never analysed a pooch. This is where they release one the same week. It's just out of coincidence. So here are my two pictures. I'm going to go for the less developed one first. Get out of the way. So the first one is a kind of Inside Out style Pixar family adventure about the 7 types of excreta inside a human body, and they would be played by, for example, like The Rock, maybe like
Seth Rogen's got to be in there.
Seth Rogen would be in there. I think Katy Perry would be one.
Russell Brand,
because
they wouldn't have to record on the same day.
You know, all like the ironic voice cast type things. Morgan Freeman would be like,
I'm a type 6. I'd like to say the type 2 fought the good fight.
Yours is got a bit Shawshank.
Yeah.
I think maybe like Jim Carrey or one of those where, you know, like
oh shitey there.
or Michael Fassbender.
That was such a dad joke.
I
apologise.
It's fine. I think we've set a low bar. You know when they chuck in like a really serious actor in these things, so you could have like Michael Fassbender or something like that.
Liam Neeson.
Like, put a pin in Liam Neeson.
Oh.
Because I've got big plans for Liam Neeson. Yeah. So that's my thing. It's kind of like a family adventure through the human body about the 7 types, and then I'd say like it's maybe a Romeo and Juliet situation. So oh no, we can't put Russell Brand and Katy Perry in the same film, so they used to be married.
Well, no, I know, but I said they wouldn't have to record on the same day.
Oh, good. Oh, you did say that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So what I'd be tempted to do in the kind of male-female paradigm is have the softs and the solids as a kind of Capulets and
Romulans.
Romulans. Yes. Okay. So the
Montagues. Sorry.
Montagues. I quite like the idea of a family of poos being modelled after the Romulans from Star Trek. Never mind. You could have a star-crossed lovers type situation, and then everybody finds their value and learns a lesson and stuff. And you know, like in a Pixar movie, someone has to learn about. You know, you teach your kids about like death and loss and moving on, and loads of grown-up lessons, and it will be very earnest. We have some music by Randy Newman. And it will be. I mean, I'm not talking like some kind of DreamWorks thing or whatever. This is full-on Pixar.
Right,
We're going
right.
straight to the top shelf.
Okay.
You know, like I might have chosen a bit. I did definitely The Rock's in there. I think the most solid poo would be The Rock, because you know he always has to do that. It's like when Sylvester Stallone played the big strong ant in Ants.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. It'd be kind of like Ants, but it'd be mostly a Pixar thing. But here's my. That's just one.
That's one. That's the family-friendly version.
This is like a family version. Well, the other one's challenging. The other one's more challenging. So I think I've taken a lot of inspiration from. Do you know who Robert Kinsey is or was?
No.
So Robert Kinsey is a very famous sex therapist, and he created the Kinsey scale. And the Kinsey scale says that no one's absolutely gay or straight. It's a spectrum.
Right.
It's numbered much like the Bristol Stool chart. I think that's why I might have led me here. But there's a film about Robert Kinsey with Liam Neeson. So I thought, you know, like when there's these things about scientific discoveries that are based on fact, and they kind of go like, well, actually, it's a composite of several characters. Yeah. Rather than do any research whatsoever, I've decided just to create a character played by Liam Neeson, and if anyone asks, I'll just say it's a composite of several characters. So it's set at Bristol. I'm tempted to sort of read out what my notes say. There's quite a lot of notes.
Oh, wow, yeah. There's several paragraphs there.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. So Liam Neeson plays a kind of renegade's, I guess, dietitian, nutritionist at Bristol University.
Yeah.
And he believes that he believes that human feces exists on a spectrum, and no one will believe him. And I think maybe like the more senior academic in the university is kind of his nemesis.
Right.
And he kind of humiliates him at a lecture and is like, of course, there's only one type of feces. And I think it might be played by, like, I want to say Patrick Stewart. I thought you could help me here. I think that
We're doing a Bristol accent though.
Well, I wonder though, because they're at Bristol University, it's like people, you know, all these people at Cambridge University aren't from Cambridge, right?
Well,
I mean, not that Cambridge has an accent really,
yeah.
But like I think he would be quite a kind of thespy person if he was still around. You know, Neeson's nemesis would be played by like Alan Rickman.
Okay.
I think, you know.
Yeah.
So there needs to be like the classic thing of the sort of renegade free thinker fighting the establishment.
Yeah.
And they won't give him the funding for a stool chart, so he has to go off and do it on his own.
I don't know why I think Donald Sutherland should be that guy.
Oh, that's good. I like that. But as a kind of like a sort of like authoritarian
pedagogue type.
Yeah, right. And he wants Liam Neeson's character to toe the line. The film's about the Bristol Stool chart. It's set in Bristol University in Bristol. I've really wrestled with just calling Liam Neeson's character Bristol Stool chart.
My name is Bristol Stool chart.
I'm telling you, it's a number 7. No Bristol Stool chart. It's not how
There is no number 7. It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum.
We are not listening to a word I said.
It's simply not done at Bristol Stool
I
chart.
have a particular set of skills. Or a particular spectrum of poo.
He's at risk of losing his tenure, and of course he's on the edge. And it'd be sort of like A Beautiful Mind as well. I think there'd be a scene where Liam Neeson is on the other side of a piece of glass, and he's using like that white chalk paint stuff.
Just sausages and
sausages,
fluffy
and
but distinct shapes,
and Maltesers and things like that.
There's a direct correlation.
I think I'm just going to read out my. I'm going to read out my notes.
Looks like a banana.
Don't you understand? It's soft like a sausage, but long like a snake. It's entirely liquid.
That's somewhat extruded. If you imagine the sphincter, it's like,
I've got Scottish now, right? Hello!
I will remove your funding and your tenure. It's sort of like the start of Ghostbusters, you know.
Billy Connolly's the sympathetic, like,
Billy Connolly's like this kind of old dude in the department that's totally...
The wee jobby! That's his theory, is the wee jobby circle of life. That comes, you know, the plane and the pooing and the fish.
I mean, we would be...
Fishy to you.
We're releasing this in Oscar season. That's my...
Yeah, except we haven't got Weinstein's help now.
No.
Not that we want it.
This is the post-Weinstein world.
Yeah.
You know, we're releasing this in Oscar season. And this is... I don't want to make a distasteful comparison, so I have to be very careful here. But, like, Schindler's List era Neeson. But, like, and I'm not just going to make some distasteful shit. Like, when he was, like, this kind of... Because he's still a dramatic actor, but, like, he does the kind of cheesy Luc Besson-produced horror action stuff now and whatnot. Yeah. But he's got real chops. And again, in Kinsey, you know, like, he's, like, the kind of serious sort of guy. So we're going for that. And people might compare it to Kinsey. I don't know. I think make a great double bill. Obviously, in terms of how it's going to look, I kind of really like the look of The King's Speech.
Oh, all right,
There's
yeah.
lots of wide angles, and it's sort of very foggy and stuff. I mean,
Get ready for a name drop, because that's shot by Danny Cohen, who shot me, who I work with. I did an advert, and he DP'd that. So I have been lensed by the video.
I worked in a hotel whilst the crew of the
like
King's Speech stayed at the hotel I worked in.
I think yeah.
And I'm not saying a prominent member of that crew was a cunt, but, you know, imagine if they
But
were.
I'm just heavily implying it.
Anyway, moving on.
Well, Danny Cohen is not a cunt, for those of you. He's a lovely guy.
If anyone is wondering about the mise en scène, I would set it in the 1970s. Again, I don't know when the Bristol Stool shot was actually made, but the 1970s gives scope for lots of browns. It'd be a very brown colour palette.
Yeah.
And Bristol wouldn't be particularly bleak. I'd get lots of Bristolian kind of accents. Maybe Stephen Merchant has to be in there. I don't know. Get some real Bristolian accents. Here's an idea. Would the said pedagogue perhaps be named Professor Dirty Shitter? No.
Okay.
He would be played by a CGI recreation of Roy Scheider, which is that Marvel technology to bring back Roy Scheider. Just his Dirty Shitter is too on the nose.
Yeah.
But he would be a dirty shitter.
Definitely.
And we'd never say that, but we'd constantly hint it.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be a scene where Liam Neeson is like, you know, he's having his beautiful mind moment and he's scoring all this stuff on the wall. And it's like one unbroken take and soft focus in the background. You'd see him go in the toilet and then he'd come out. And then also in the background, but never directly referenced, you'd see people just refusing to go in and stuff. Like,
then someone comes out and puts tape across it. Yeah. Out of order.
I workshopped a scene. So there's a kind of there's a scene that's really pivotal to the film, and I can't remember what Mark Commode has a phrase for this, and it's one of these things that always goes into biopics and things like that, and it's something I actually really hate. But there's a moment in like a Karen Carpenter biopic where there's a really on the nose piece of dialogue about such and such a thing happening.
Chubby.
Chubby or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like it's sort of like the, you know, the shit things in prequels, but they love to do them in biopics, like really clunky moments.
Yeah.
Naturally, I've written one.
It's like Freddie Mercury going, it's almost bohemian, like a rhapsody. No, it's that. Yeah, chubby. Yeah.
So, right. So what's going to happen? And this is going to be like I haven't really thought about music yet, but we'll get to that. But it's going to be symphonic. I mean, we're talking like Alan Silvestri, John Williams,
right, yeah,
type thing. I mean,
lots of choirs.
Yeah, I mean, it really has to have that feeling of academia, and it needs to be. You know, we are from an academic part of the world. We know what that's like. It needs to be steeped in academia. They were in the kind of Bristol style, so we'd have to look.
Long stripy scarves.
Long stripy scarves, you know, like just to make it. I think what would be really good is to really egregiously make it not like Bristol and make it look like Cambridge, just to annoy people.
Shoot it in Cambridge.
Loads of punting and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the pivotal scene for the movie, because I think what it is when we meet Bristol Stillchart.
I christen you Bristol Stillchart.
Bristol Still, Dr. Bristol Stillchart. He knows that the movements can be divided into 7.
Yeah.
Well, he knows the movements can be divided, and he knows there's not just one type.
Right.
Despite what the point is, he's challenging the system, and he's the one who's going to smash this. There has to be a scene where he's sitting there and he sat in the cafeteria at Bristol University, and he's trying to piece together like how this works.
Yeah.
And he's got notes and stuff like that. And we do that thing where he's like kind of furtively scribbling notes, and people don't like to speak to him because he's on a whole other level. Like he's not very sociable, but he's this kind of super genius,
savant,
mad hair and all that.
Yeah.
So people don't really sit with him at lunch and stuff. And there's probably like a sympathetic dinner lady or something that would have been played by the late Victoria Wood. We get Julie Walters. Get a nice British actor in a kind of, you know, Julie Walters done a lot of turns like that. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But don't make her too much like Mrs. Overall. So Bristol Stillchart is sat there with his notebook, and he looks around the canteen, and then I need to just check my notes to make sure I get this totally right. So, like, firstly, he sees like someone eating like mushroom stroganoff, and then there's someone eating like out of a big glass bowl of Maltesers, and then there's someone like eating a sausage, which could be a Cumberland ring. And then like someone eating some tofifi, and then
Bovril.
Yeah, Bovril. Or maybe there's like a Bovril
consomme or something.
It's the 70s, so there's like a Bovril vending machine or dispenser. But crucially, I just want a student like who's just petting a large brown snake. just in the middle of
And
the
eating a
canteen.
sausage.
And eating a Cumberland ring on a stick. I'd like to give a shout out to Kirsty at this point because she helped me with this. And he'd look around and there'd be one to represent all 7 things. And it would start off these kind of like furtive cuts. And then it would go to like a big panorama of the canteen around Bristol Stool Chart where we see all 7 stages represented in these foods or pet snake. And then he runs through the halls of Bristol like screaming that he's got it right, and it's one long take. It'd be a really long involved thing, and you could maybe get some cameos in and have him running through all these different things through the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, because he's kind of like this misunderstood genius, I think that him kind of losing it in public is what causes him to like lose his tenure, and he gets thrown out. And then the remaining act of the movie is him getting his theory together, getting it approved from other people, and then getting his tenure back at Bristol University to show it to Donald Sutherland or Roy Scheider. CGI Roy Scheider.
Played by Donald Sutherland.
And he's kind of enabled by the...
voiced by Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
none of it makes any sense.
No, it shouldn't make any sense. And I think he's got Julie
You
Walters.
are banned. You are banned!
But he's got Roy Scheider's face.
But the body is Donald Sutherland. So it doesn't make any sense.
It'd be so expensive. It'd be so expensive.
Bristol Stool Chart. You don't understand. Professor Shitter, whatever. What was it? Professor.
Professor Authority.
Yeah.
So,
Professor Overwipe. Professor Blockage.
Oh, whatever.
You don't understand.
Professor U-Bend.
I've seen all 7 tapes. They exist.
They do not exist.
And also, I think there has to be, in these stories, there's always the element of hypocrisy, in that guy knows it exists, but it's just going to blow toilet-based academia to pieces, and he can't. And then he's got so many works published that state the other theory.
This shelf behind him is just full of volumes of like there is only one poo.
And he's got like you know if you've seen those posters they give away in the Guardian with all the types of fish and stuff, like those evolutionary charts.
Yeah,
It's like that, but there's just one turd on it with a label. It's just he's so invested in the establishment theory that there's only one type of shit, and it would destroy his career if this come and revolutionised. You know what I mean? It's like television killing radio. You know, he's going to come in, so he's deliberate. So he's a hypocrite, and he knows. And I think there'll probably be some element of them, finding out that he knew all along and was just trying to suppress it, and that's going to help Bristol Stool Chart get his tenure back. And then at the end of the film, there's going to be like I want to have a scene at the end where it says like Bristol Stool Chart, he died penniless, but the world knew his work. He died in 1991, and then have a scene like at his graveside. And have, I don't know, loads of like constipated people come in laying flowers or something like that. I don't know, but I just really want to. And if anybody asks me in press conferences and stuff, I'll just be like, well, it's a combination of real people. and then there'll probably be loads of litigation relating to it. So, what do you think about my pitch?
I think we've managed to what would you say? Make a mountain out of that particular poo hill.
I've been dying to say that I wanted to get this out of my system, which is disgusting, but also really true.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's been on the Google Hangouts knows that I seem to bring up the Bristol Stool Chart every time.
He does mean that. I think you've done very well there. I think you've really managed to think about that and write an awful lot of stuff down. I mean, I suppose that there's allegory there. It's it's like anyone who's tried to. Maybe I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, I think it very much sits in. it sits in a genre, in the kind of academic biopic and the romanticism of academia and stuff. And it's finally, these things are always at Cambridge and Oxford, and or some Ivy League thing in the States.
It's like theory of everything as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It would be like that, but better. Not that I've seen that.
No, that's pretty good.
It'd definitely be better. I just get I'm sick to death of having Cambridge shit shoved down my throat. I used to be a tour guide in Cambridge for my old job, and I know all this shit, and I don't need someone fucking spelling it out for me for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit how Eddie Redmayne limps or whatever. But anyway, like that.
Okay.
It'd be way like that. It'd be super romantic and stuff, and it'd be tragic, and we are, we're way into Oscar season.
Yeah.
And in terms of prepping this for release, like if Bristol had an issue, and if like they got wind that this was coming and said you can't make it, I would change it to like instead of the Bristol Stool chart, it'd be like the Cheltenham movement index or something. I don't know. Like I'd make it. It's already basically original IP. And I might need to just move it into that.
Well, is there a copyright of the Bristol Stool chart? Is that?
Well, I'm just worried that real people that exist might be annoyed that I've bastardised their work and their memory.
Yeah,
that's all. I think it could be actionable. I don't know, but I genuinely believe it's a story that needs to be told, even if it's mostly made up and lies.
I think we've got to leave it there. I think that pitch deserves, well, because it's two pitches in one, really. Don't forget the
the other one was kind of I thought it could go two ways, because I think again the baseline thing was, how do you make a story where there isn't one? And this is, again, it's your Pirates of the Caribbean, it's your battleships, it's these fucking... And I got wind this week that there's supposedly... there was a billboard that went up featuring some American cereal mascot, and now people are speculating that there's going to be like a cereal mascot cinematic universe.
Oh, God.
Or whatever. And there was once... Alan Moore made an off-the-cuff joke about Johnny Depp playing Captain Crunch.
Right.
Years ago, and it seems like that may come to pass. Everything's a poo or wee pun.
It really is.
When you think about it. It's grounded in reality in a number of ways.
Yeah.
But again, it's a story that needs to be told, even though it's mostly lies.
What would the title be? Or would it just be Bristol Stool Chart, the movie?
It seems... Do you know what I'd quite like to do? Because this is the thing, we're joking here and we're laughing, but this would be straight as a die.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be dry.
No.
It'd be very emotional, and at the core of it is this kind of misunderstood renegade genius, and his fight against an establishment that just doesn't understand him and doesn't want to know about how to subdivide the different sections of bowel movements. So it would be kind of straight on the line, and I kind of think that, because what would be good might annoy a certain council, but if you just called it Bristol, or the chart, or the seven movements, or... Like, it would need something... I don't want it to be too pretentious, but I want it to be sort of...
Dead Poet Society.
Duncan, no. That is not... Don't lower the tone of this podcast.
A poetical mind.
Duncan, stop lowering the tone of this podcast. No, it would be...
The theory of everything, Poe related.
colon.
There you go.
It needs to be inspiring. I want it to inspire people. I want someone who's misunderstood in their workplace or their life to watch this film and be moved by it.
Oh God. Okay. Well, recommendations in the comment section below, perhaps.
Don't come in here with your tacky.
Puerile pun.
Don't you come here and lower the tone after the fact. I will only accept serious suggestions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be blocked and banned if you dare drag my film through the mud.
We'll take it to Liam's people. See what we can get going.
We're thinking. I suppose Oscar season 2019 to qualify for the 2020 Academy Awards.
We'd have to move fast.
Well, I think. Like a number 7 that's entirely liquid, we'll move fast through the system. Based on ideas that are solid, like a number 2 or 3 with fluffy edges. It would be smooth. It would be smooth with rough edges.
Okay.
It would be smooth with rough edges. It would be real, and it would be tough.
Do you think somehow there's like maybe he gets his theory from what's the guy's name? I think Bazalgette, who created the sewer system in London.
I don't know.
There's got to be a tie in there somewhere.
I think we should. That sounds like.
That sounds like something. A
I
prequel.
think if we have a lot of success.
You mean when?
Sorry, pardon me. Yeah, that was pessimistic.
Yeah,
we don't need that. When this kind of comes good, yeah, the second one would be about that, and I think we might even get Liam back. If we're going to go into a trilogy, we could do one about Thomas Crapper.
Yeah.
And the flushable toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, and these are a trilogy, and sure, maybe time off in between films for other projects, because you got to let these things breathe.
Yeah.
A serious, hard-hitting trilogy.
Yeah.
Well, they're not that hard-hitting. I want them to be inspirational. It's really important that they're inspirational.
Yeah. What's the take-home like? What you can?
We talk about box office, or you mean like
no? Yeah. What's the message?
The message here is that if you if you think someone is strange, or if you think they're unusual, you should never write them off. And if someone challenges the establishment and challenges the ideas, and you think they might be mad, they could be right. They could. I mean, this is the point. This is about standing up for yourself and showing people. It's about standing up for yourself against the established system, and it's about embracing people that are different and listening to their ideas. And I think that would be the theme of the trilogy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my pitch for Bristol Stool Chart, the movie.
Very good. Well, I think I would give that.
I forgot about the arbitrary rating. It's been so long.
Yeah, I know. 3.5 sausage snakes out of 3.75.
I suppose it should be out of 7.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, all right. Fucking 6.5 Cumberland sausages out of 7.
Better.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into that involved, if somewhat scatological examination of the Bristol Stool Chart. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you disliked it, please hit the dislike button twice. And remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And please go over and see us on Patreon. That seems a bit cheeky of me to ask, given the last half an hour's content.
There's also merchandise now.
There's also merchandise as well, yes, at Redbubble. The link will be in the description below. And thank you all very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on another Pitches Leave. Goodbye.
Tatty bye. Support your 7th or 8th favourite YouTube channel by buying crap, tat, junk, hogwash and filth at redbubble.com/people/Valverde shop.